So I've already recorded this entire video, but I accidentally left my webcam unmuted. Um, Unfortunately, I've just woke up, so you got deep voice cuffs, ladies. With that being said, we're going to do a tier list, all three roles. We're just gonna front to back it like a bro comp. I almost called Black Panther Daredevil. Jesus, it's 11 in the morning. As you know, I'm a gamer. I should not be awake at this time. I still need to defrost for another 3 hours. But Black Panther isn't a completely horrendous character. Now, I can't imagine a world where BP is truly bad. I think his kit forces a lot of resources. I think the playstyle of BP is very good in the current state of the game. However, every Black Panther player says that the character is bad. And I know how much they love their character. Nobody is playing this hero. I have absolutely no sample size to even make the claim that he's not that bad. So with that being said, he has to sit in the D. Pause. Black Widow, in my opinion, I would place in C tier. I really do not think that this character is bad at all. She has good team up. She has one-shot potential. She plays for angles. She has good anti-dive. Objectively a decent character. In my opinion, society has told people that this character is awful and horrendous, but actually I know a whole bunch of Black Widow players that have never really thought the character was bad. Of course, people are calling for her buff. I would also call for, but I'm calling for rocket buffs right now as a rocket player. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the character is obviously not bad, but he's weaker than a lot. Um, Blade, on the other hand, I'm gonna do something controversial and actually say that this Blade character is slightly worse than Black Widow. I think has good util, but actually the fact that this purple, like the heal reduction, is not like a complete what's the word? It's not a complete part. It doesn't stop you from healing completely. Jesus. Um, it's not that great. Like the anti-heal in this game is not as useful as it would be in a game like Overwatch. Um, there's not too many purposes, not too many players. Who knows? I reckon that there will be a Blade meta eventually. Maybe when numbers get balanced out and stuff like that. His kit has a potential to be good as of right now, which is not the case. Daredevil is the best character in the game, has a whole bunch of burst damage, unlimited cooldowns. He fits the dive when condition. Dive is the strongest playstyle in the game right now. It is undeniable that this Daredevil character is broken. Hawkeye, a lot of people say that this character is good. I don't think that this character is good. Now, there's a difference between numbers being good and a character being good based on context. As of right now, dive is prevalent. Dive counters Hawkeye pretty damn bad. Hawkeye has nothing other than knockback and unlucky shots to get out of a diveable situation. If we're talking about characters that can play and fulfill the same job, Hela is better, Phoenix is better, any sort of poke. Any sort of poke range character, even the Mora is slightly better at the job that he fulfills. Um, do I think that this character is viable? Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put this character slightly above Blade, but slightly below Black Widow. Human Torch is a bit of a weird one. Obviously, now that Ultron is strong, a whole bunch of people are saying that Human Torch is now viable. Obviously, Ultron is the most enabling character for the Human Torch. However, in pro scrims, I have not seen a Human Torch playing team win a single map. I'm convinced that this character is still bad. Obviously, can be played in the dive. I would say slightly more valuable than the characters in C tier. Might have to be Red Bull time. The second this video ends, I'm having a Red Bull. Um, Hela, in my opinion, let's put Hela in the A tier. Very strong, but susceptible to dive. You're gonna see a very common theme here. Dive right now just plays for outpacing. Dive characters are extremely strong. You can misplay 5 times in a fight and still win, just based on the fact that this game has absolutely no trade-off for damage. So in Overwatch, brawl characters would be stronger than dive characters in close range. Marvel Rivals has made the mistake of making dive characters the same as brawl characters with mobility. So it just means that there are certain characters in this game with super high damage and super high mobility. And that's the reason why characters like Hela fall off pretty badly in the matchup. Iron Fist suffers from the exact opposite of what Hela suffers from. Iron Fist is a dive character, can play very front to back, has decent sustain, good team ups. Now, A is going to be filled with characters with either good team ups or an extreme amount of value in the game, in a neutral. Iron Man, moving on swiftly, I think is extremely underrated. I think he helps out quite a lot for a brawl, can assist to dive. Doesn't have a bad ult necessarily. I also think he's quite good into dive, a certain amount of dive anyway. If you're looking at DD, for example, Iron Man is not a bad character. Magic, on the other hand, is a character that I've seen a lot of videos on being bad, and I don't get it because I think this character is extremely good. I'm not currently or actively, I guess I am coaching one Magic player. I've not asked for their opinion on the character. Um, I think Magic is really good. Very, very much so fits the close range battles that are frequently taking place. I think she has a good ult. She can kill through ults. Kill ult is extremely overpowered. I think the only reason why she misses out in certain situations is the fact that she's not as mobile as a whole bunch of characters. Am I gonna put Magic in the A? I'll put Magic in the A, honestly I would. Mr. Fantastic suffers from a bit of an identity crisis. He has the kit of a brawl hero. Everyone says he's a brawl hero. Even now with the changes, which by the way I think is a lot weaker. I, as a okay, this is a tangent. Mr. Fantastic is one of the best damage characters in my hero pool. I thought that he was better before he got changed in comparison to how he is now. I think Mr. Fantastic shouldn't give ult charge when he goes big, especially because when he goes big, it's not an extremely overpowered state of being. Mr. Fantastic could be a completely fine character if he just humped people and gave them, overshield, right? Um, Mr. Fantastic now, he gets big, he doesn't have any of that overshield anymore. He has raw healing output. Um, this is just a circumstance where people have seen a character get changed, played the character, and realized, oh, this character's really good now, when in reality he was really good before. I think he was better before, like I just said. Moon Knight facilitates dives extremely well. His survivability in dive has gone up a lot more now that he has 2 right clicks and an overshield. However, he's weak to this Gambit comp. Gambit can turbocharge ults into Moon Knight and become extremely, extremely overpowered. Um, yeah, I can't put Moon Knight any higher than A tier. If Gambit wasn't so prevalent, I would say it's probably S. Namor, if we're strictly talking, Dry Namor is actually quite a bad character. Obviously, he has team ups. Um, I'm a firm believer that Namor isn't objectively an anti-dive character. Cool, he could scout. So if his turret shoots on stuff on flanks, like you know that an enemy is flanking, but I actually don't think that Namor is an anti-dive character. I think it's a common misconception. Even the Hela Namor team up, lack of turret and stuff like that. I believe that Dive is extremely strong into that team up. Having said this, he has a good ult, he has a good neutral, he has good team ups. He's in the middle of B. Obviously, he's better than Iron Man, right? He's better than Fanta, so I'll give him that. Phoenix is Giga broken busted. That extra 100 HP to her ult is extremely overpowered, and I've used that term so many times. I think that character is so good, you don't even understand. Consistent neutral, can shoot things forever. Decent old get out of jail free card, multiple get out of jail free cards, CC, all of that. Um, doesn't really align with a dive win condition, but actually there's a sleeper pick that it works really well with this Phoenix character. Um, and a lot of you guys might be surprised with where I put a certain character, because I do think there's a certain character in S tier. Now, Punisher, A tier, very good for his purpose, but he can get angled very easily by poke comps. This means that he's only really good on convoy maps. He's only really good on very front to back brawling maps. Um, Kunlun or Kunlan, whatever that map is called. That's quite a brawly map, even though it's not convoy. He can be played on maps like that. Same with Clintar. Punisher is actually very, very strong, very oppressive, very good to break spawns. Nothing wrong with him. I think Psylocke is actually better than Phoenix. Psylocke fits into dive win condition. Um, his Psylocke's ult 100%. Sorry, I'm pushing in my chair. Psylocke's ult 100% needs to be reverted. I can't believe I just slipped up there. It needs to be reverted. The fact that we would originally use that ult to force enemy defensive ults out, but now it's fully being used as a tool to force defensives and potentially get a kill off the back of it. Very, 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 very strong. Fits Gambit win condition extremely well, Cap win condition extremely well. You can play to shoot tanks, farm your ult even faster in the Gambit ult, blah blah blah. Hit backline with ult. All you really need is a Loki ban, or even then you can just play around cooldowns. Scarlet Witch, I've seen a lot of content on how Scarlet Witch is actually pretty decent. I drastically disagree. I think that is absolutely insane in my opinion. Again, I play a decent amount of Scarlet Witch. She feels borderline unusable in my opinion. Now, this might be the most controversial take out of my entire tier list. I think Spider-Man is a very good character. Now, a lot of Spider-Man players right now think that their character is actually good. When they're not begging for a buff. I use a good example. Light, for example, absolutely will make it clear when the state of Spider-Man is bad. For those of you that don't know, Light is a pro player, probably the best or most established pro player that has a Spider-Man in his locker. Now, 2 days ago, Light goes into my VC and says, Cuffy, Spider-Man is broken. You think I'm playing Spider-Man is broken. And he was explaining to me reasons why, and his reasons that I might implement in post-scene, so I can't go into too much detail about that. But that Spider-Man character right now is a sleeper pick, and of course, Spider-Man, the truest form of dive, the truest form of mobility, is going to be viable in a dive patch. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, Star-Lord is also S tier. Ultron buffs, changes. There's going to be a lot of Ultron. Star-Lord is the best character for marking that. Also has a very, very consistent ult. Nothing about him is overtuned. Now, Star-Lord is interesting because he's the only character in the S tier right now that I don't think is overtuned. Maybe he has the weird overshield on his right click, his flip ability, but other than that, there's not really too much to say about him. Storm, very good for a purpose, very, very two-dimensional though. You know, she's really good at breaking spawns, same way as Punisher, but she also only works with certain DPS. You would never want a Storm Mr. Fantasticom. Do you see what I'm saying? But we would want a Storm Punny, Storm Moon Knight, stuff along that line because it's extremely overpowered. The amps, the buffs that she gives to her teammates can win entire maps. Entire maps. Um, but the issue is she's quite weak into every single one of the S tier DPS right now, which is kind of insane. Bucky I would actually put as S tier. Lower end of S tier, maybe first A. Truest form of Brawl. Brawl is the weakest playstyle right now in my opinion, but hey, he has a hook. He has a very, very consistent pressure. He can set up his own triggers with the hook. Decent cooldowns. Nothing much to say about him. I think he's in a pretty decent state. Squirrel Girl, I think, is not bad. Consistent damage output. That's her entire character, though. There's not much to say about that. And this is the most controversial one of them all, other than maybe Spider-Man. Lower level players haven't discovered the Wolverine this season. Wolverine is permanently played in pro play. And actually, I think putting Wolverine into the tier list last is a nice little segue to the rest of the roles. Now, I know when I first recorded this, swapping all of the DPS and taking them out took me an absolute age. So, whilst I'm doing this, I request that you guys humbly drop me a follow or subscribe, I guess, in this case. Like the video, share it to friends, have a dispute. Use this tier list as a pro coach, right? I'm a pro coach. Use this tier list to have arguments with your friends. If you agree with me and they disagree with me, like, just do it, bro. Let me be your ammo. But the reason why Wolverine was in S tier is because of his team ups. Now, I played a little game first time round. Who do you think is the S tier hero? Who do you think is the D tier hero? Hulk is horrendous in my opinion. I think he does way too little in comparison to the other tanks, and I think a whole bunch of tanks are actually extremely strong, extremely overpowered in this game. Thing can four-shot tanks. Thing is extremely strong in spawn break. Obviously, it could be angled. There's a clear issue around his design and playstyle. But the fact that they gave him an ability to jump to teammates and jump to enemies actually fixes that problem a lot of the time. You can apply very consistent pressure now with the Thing, as well as that fastball Wolverine team up being extremely, extremely strong. You notice that Wolverine is also in S tier because that Phoenix team up is also pretty good. And Phoenix is also an S tier character. Now, dive and dive. Angela, dive playstyle, very, very good. Displaces the same way a Wolverine does. You'll notice a very, 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 very huge overlap and bias towards one playstyle from me. Captain America is a dive character, can hit backlands very, very consistently, but then on top of that, um, his ult allows people to charge their ults faster, which fits into the Gambit win condition, and Gambit is hard meta. Now, um, a bit more controversially, I think that these characters are good. What I think is really, really interesting is Mag, in my opinion, has the strongest toolkit, the strongest numbers. If you're solo queuing and a Mag player, don't play anything else. Mag is the strongest tank in the game, but actually Mag doesn't set an identity for the comp. Characters like Cap and Angela and Thing set an identity for the comp, and it's extremely, 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 extremely strong. Mag has versatility, Mag can work with pretty much everything, but those S tier heroes are the carry heroes. Mag can only win if you're better than the other Mag. Cap, Angela, and Thing will have very unorthodox matchups. It will very, very rarely be a mirror, especially in a ranked environment, and these are the characters that will be your hard carries. Now, Penny, good into anti-dive. Thor, good displacement value, decent numbers. I think Venom is actually a step below these characters. I think Venom is only good right now because of dive. He's actually very, very hard countered by Gambit, for example. Venom is the weakest dive character for the tank line, but is still viable simply because the playstyle is that strong. Thor, yeah, I mean, I've already kind of covered that. Actually, I think Strange is slightly above them. Strange is extremely underrated and extremely underutilized. He's very good at forcing angles, contesting angles, kind of like an off tank. He has the verticality. He has TP, which is the strongest cooldown in the game. He has a very good ult that kills through defensive ults. Good character overall. Rogue right now has a lot of weakness. She becomes an ult farm bot. And in a weird way, I can see pro players using Rogue to counter the Gambit and the Cap. Having said that, that has not been developed, so as of right now, that Rogue character is a very low tier. Finally, the moment that you've all been waiting for. We're going to move on to the Strategists. I'm severely dehydrated. I actually feel sick, like I'm going to throw up. But anyway. Gambit is completely S tier. That character completely dictates games in a way that is not fair. That's all I have to say about that. Loki, Mantis, Invis, all S tier. Just because these are the best characters for Gambit. I don't like placing characters based on other characters in tier lists, but since Gambit is a must play, the other S tier characters are literally just the characters that work best with him. Funnily enough, Ultron, numbers wise, I think might be the best character in the entire video game, but because he works a lot worse with Gambit, he has to be a step down. Gambit, Mantis, Ultron is still very good, but Mantis Loki is always going to be the best triple support variation. I think Jeff fits dive comp, fits triple support, extremely versatile, can be played in brawl, poke, and dive. He has to be up there. My headset's just fallen off my head. I don't even know why I have that headset on. Luna is an extremely underrated character. This is a character that actually more casual players align with in comparison to pros. A lot of pros think that Luna is pretty mid because she's so easy to kill in a dive. I think our power level has severely gone up now that Snowflake is being used, and I think that we might actually see her a lot more frequently. Adam and Rocket aren't bad characters, they just completely miss out. They completely miss out on the fun. They're just there. Very, like utility players, good on convoy, good for spawn holds. That's just about it. Cloak is below them because Cloak is simply only good at breaking spawn holes. There's not too much to say about her or them. The blind is very strong, of course. Nice cooldown, but she's just so killable in ult. Doesn't do enough healing in the neutral. Her healing numbers are fake. They don't actually do anything, and she has a severe lack of burst healing, making her the worst strategist in the game right now. With that being said, I need to go to bed again. I swear to God, I feel so sick. Thank you. Like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Peace on the streets.